What's going
Pawz
on?
One carrying the culture. We had a glitch in the matrix last week, so we stepping up for round two to try to do this, man. What's good, man? How you doing?
Shit, doing ups and downs this year is like it's constantly fucking kicking everybody in the balls.
Hard, steel toe shit, like Wolverine boots, my nigga.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So no, I
yes.
feel you.
It's like it's left and right, left and right.
Absolutely. If you guys got questions for Pawz One, use the questions feature below. There's a questions mark thing there. You can put them right there, and then I can put them out for everybody. Pawz can see them, and then everybody else can see it, and that's how it works. So use the questions feature if you want to. If you got a question. So let's get into it, man. I love catching up with cats from the West Coast and from other areas because hip hop's universal, but it's like you had a different experience than I did growing up on the East Coast. Yeah, what up? You can't hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's getting a little choppy, but I can hear
all
you.
right, all right. So as long as you can hear me, let me know. So,
Yeah,
um, I love to hear about cats and their hip hop experiences. Like, so that's why I'm really excited about doing this interview. First of all, your name is from graph shit, right? You were writing.
say
I
it
said your
again.
name is from graffiti, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So you still write or no?
not actively. Nah, every now and then I'll catch a spot, or if we're out painting or whatever, or somebody's doing something, I might pick up a can and do something. But I'm not active like I used to
You
be.
getting the graph first or like or the rhyming first?
It was graph first. That was probably the most. It was the most accessible. Just being out there, like to get on a mic out here was different. Like
How?
dudes are freestyling shit like that, but there wasn't a lot of, especially when you were younger, there wasn't a lot of spots you could just kind of show up to and get busy. Parks and shit like that, high school, whatever. But the graph shit was all day, every day. So you were able to just jump on a bus, go paint, jump in somebody's car, go paint, hit the streets, go paint. So that was uh that was the introduction right there.
What's the craziest graph story you got?
Shit, the craziest. Well, shit, one of the ones that I always talk about because I hit this freeway like every day. Uh, I was painting on one side of it, and I didn't have a spotter. I didn't have anybody to keep an eye out. So I was getting up, and shit, I seen him out the corner of my eye, and I threw the cans and I ran. But I had to run across the 5 freeway, and it was right there, like it's kind of by. I mean, cats will know where it is if I tell them it's by Carmelas. It's a neighborhood that's over there in Norwalk, which is where I spent a lot of time, where I grew up and shit. And yeah, I had to run across the whole freeway dodging cars like in the movies and shit. And yeah, that's probably one of the ones where I was like, yeah, this is serious shit, you know?
Do you ever get like caught by the police for that shit? Because I had the worst luck with that
Oh
shit.
yeah, yeah. I think the first experience I had with that, which is kind of what pushed me in the direction of taking the rhyming serious, was I was in high school, and I had borrowed a black book, and in the black book it had everybody's names in it, and the teacher had it in for me, so I put it underneath in that little metal thing at the bottom of the seat, and I wasn't gonna mob in it in class, but I guess he went around, did his rounds, and seen it from behind and grabbed it, and shit, they try to get me for every name in that book. So they were saying like, yeah, so they try to hit me for all the damage, like every name that was in there. And they're like, yo, just let us know who's who. And I'm like, yo, go fuck yourself. So from then on, they kind of already knew my name. So they just kept an eye out, and they hit me with like, I kept getting busted for my name. So I kept changing my name. But by that time, the cops already knew my face and shit like that. So it was pretty much a wrap. But that's when I started evolving into doing the rhyming shit a little more serious.
Right. If you guys got questions for Pawz, put them in the use the questions feature uh, right below, right there. Pawz One in the building. So, yo, like, so you started getting into the rhyming shit. Now, like, always, it's always interesting talking to cats from the West Coast that don't have the, I guess, say typical G funk style or whatever, if you will. But Like, so what was your early shit growing up? Like early influences, where you were like, yo, this shit is dope. Like in terms of like lyrical shit.
Yeah, see, like Ice Cube and Scarface will probably be the closest, and MC Ren, shit like that, like where it was actually the content, the bars, like not to say, because Cube and Ren wrote easy shit or whatever, but anyway, those two, but LL shit like that was still prevalent, people were still, it was out there, you could hear it. And you're younger, so you don't really know it's either good or it's not, right?
Right.
And then some of the shit they rap about, it's visual, so you're able to identify with stuff that you see around you. And I realized like it didn't really matter, as long as it was hood shit, it was kind of the same. There was some stuff that I didn't get as a kid. I got older and I got to see it, and traveling, going to the East Coast and seeing certain shit. But I would say one of the big introductions for me was like was Nas, Wu-Tang, shit like that, like AZ, OC, a lot of those dudes. That's what I was really able to really focus in and like digest a lot of the lyricism and shit like that. And I gravitated towards that more than anything because they were saying drug dealer shit, but in a way more clever way. And I like to read it, and I like to write. At the time, I was writing stories and shit like that, just trying to stay busy. Because growing up in the house, like, there was a lot of abuse. My pops was alcoholic. My mom's was on drugs, so there was a lot of fighting and shit like that. And you create a little bubble, you create a little world. So I was writing at the time, so that kind of pulled me in, hearing certain words, 4 or 5 syllable words that meant something, so they could say less, they could say more with less words. And shit, from then on, like even when I started freestyling, I try to incorporate a lot of that. And just, going to different spots, different parties. And, I was writing, but I was rhyming. So I would be the one representing the crew on the mic, battling people at house parties, whatever functions. And then from there, just being known as, like a double threat or whatever. But yeah, it was definitely those cats, and then, of course, the hieroglyphics, Tash, Alcoholics, Razkaz, that was a big one. Dudes like that.
Right. And so, like, when did you start taking it serious? Where you're like, yo, I really want to fucking, like, make records and get into, like, the whole, because a lot of cats start out just rhyming, and it's like, okay. And that's what I did. I kind of stopped at a certain point, was fucking around with my friends, and it was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? But then it was like, take it to another level.
I think in the beginning, it was more expression, like I said, representing the crew, shouting out the homies in there, kind of battle rapping or whatever. But I had a ton of shit that I had wrote that wasn't necessarily rhymes, but it did rhyme. And I had one of my homies who was a better MC or whatever, better rapper. He was saying like, yo, these are basically songs right here. You just got to format them. So, I get the tapes and the instrumental side, flip it, try to rhyme over it, little bullshit microphone, listen back. Picked it up, put it down a couple times. But as I got in trouble more, I kept going, to juvenile hall and shit like that, getting in and out. So you got a bunch of time to think. So being in there, I was writing more, kind of honing the skills, ran into a ton of fucking young, active gang members that were in there for a bunch of wild shit, and they rap. So they were kind of giving me pointers. And I was like, you know what? I want to make songs. Like, I don't want to just rap about the crew and how dope I am and shit like that. Because that comes real easy. I want to tell stories. I want to do the Slick Rick shit. I want to do the Cube shit. So I started kind of molding it into that. But I also knew from day one, if this was something that I was going to do, I had to learn at least some of the ins and outs. And there was really no OG to take me under his wing at the time. So I would just, every scrap of paper that had anything to do with hip hop, if it was, Double XL, The Source, Murder Dog, any Blaze, Vibe, any rap magazine, any fucking music magazine, because I wanted to learn about the ins and outs of the industry. So I wanted to learn how Cash Money got $100 million from Universal. I wanted to learn these things, how Tech Nine became, Tech Nine, and kind of putting myself through school in a sense, and then eventually running into some OGs that did sprinkle me with a little bit of game, mostly in jail. But it was around, I'm going to say about 18, 19 years old when I was like, yo, I'm really gonna do this.
Right. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
It's confidential.
Oh, motherfucker. Fucker. I'll find out. I'll find out. I got my sources.
Yeah.
Yo. So
nah, I'm right now I just turned
right now.
38.
Right now. So that's today, motherfucker.
Like right now, this moment, right now.
So tomorrow,
I'm 38.
Tomorrow, if I ask you, then what, motherfucker?
It might change.
Fuck you, man.
It might go down to 26. See?
Fuck out of here.
See, the homie knows my.
All right, so
the homie knows 26.
Check, let's go there, yo, because you was telling me you were saying you was locked up. I heard you met Razzcast in jail. That's when you met Razzcast.
Yeah. So, going back to what I was saying before, there was a time when I was listening to Rat Assassination, trying to learn all the words to Nature of the Threat, trying to recite it and shit like that. And I ended up locked up, and looking out the little bullshit window into the yard, I got to see, because I knew his face. He was in fucking magazines and everything. So I was like, yo, that's fucking, I knew who that was. But you can't tell these, validated gang members blasted up head to toe who that is, because they don't really fucking know. So I had to tell my celly, like, yo, that dude right there raps with Dr. Dre. So right away, he's like, yo, what? Like, and I'm like, yeah, he fucks with, like, these Mac 10, these people. And he's like, oh, that little dude right there. And luckily, I was on the yard with another friend of mine that was in my graph crew, one of the homies Dids. And so I told him when I seen him on the yard, I was like, yo, that's Raz. He knew who Raz was, but he had gone from doing graffiti to full-fledged gang member. So, and it's a racial thing out here. It's really, really big.
We'll get into that in a minute, man. I really want to talk about that soon. So keep that. Yeah, we hold that thought. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I pretty much, I told him, like, yo, I got to at least say what's up. So I approached him, said what up, told him that I rhymed or whatever, but it wasn't like, yo, please listen to my demo. Let me fucking audition for you because we're in prison. But it was just more or less like, yo, it's good to meet you. If I don't see you, whatever. So we ended up in the same building a couple months later. And from there, like, finally got a chance to talk to him. And I didn't approach him with the, yo, can you introduce me to so-and-so? It was more like, yo, how do I get a publicist? Like, starting from scratch. Like, how do I get a publicist? Things like that. And it wasn't to necessarily impress him, but it was more like, yo, I really want to fucking know, because that's the next step. So I started asking a lot of questions like that. And I think he saw the direction that I was coming from without hearing me really rhyme. I did kick a couple bars for him prior to that, but I think that was, it was definitely, it was dope, but it was weird at the same time. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So, yo, like, you being locked up and shit, I mean, to me, that's always some crazy shit. So how did you come out of that, like, and have your head on straight? I didn't know that about you until I tried to do the knowledge on the interview or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So how did you come out and not really get back into whatever you got you in there in the first place?
So I think, like, the first thing is I don't really push and promote that's where I spend a lot of time, because I feel like people expect you to touch on those topics fairly often. It becomes cliche, it becomes, stereotypical. So it's tucked in there. So, like, there's dudes that, been in and out, and they could tell by the lingo and the words that I use that I know what I'm saying, and I've, been certain places or whatever. And again, it's like I say, like, for kids, it's like that shit, motherfuckers make it sound cool, but it's really not cool. It's not as advertised. Trust me. But so that's why I try not to promote it, but it's part of my life experience. So I definitely touch on it. But going back to the whole mind state as a kid, I was like, shit, if I'm going to rap and I'm locked up, and I'm locked up with one of the greatest rappers of all time, like, shit, I might as well become very studious. So again, anything I could get my hands on. And I had people mailing me stuff. By this time, I had a little buzz from doing battle rap shit and things like that. So people were writing me letters. People were sending me stuff, keeping me motivated and inspired. So when I got out, plus I had access to books, a ton of shit. So when I got out, I just I hit the ground running. Shout out to the homies from Israel Records. It's disbanded, but that's still the family. So from there, we put out one mixtape, then another. I started doing shows. I set up my own tour. You know, I didn't really wait for a lot of people to do much for me. I figured, fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself because I saw the shift with the internet, where a lot of stuff was going back to being indie.
Around what year?
So
around what year was this? Around what this time frame was?
that was like 2010, 11.
Okay. Okay. So you got out and basically just hit the ground running, like make with the music shit.
Yeah.
Music shit.
Yeah. So, and since then, I mean, it's been pretty consistent. You know, there's been some plateaus. You know, like going overseas for the first time. You know, rocking in front of a couple thousand people, showing up. People already know the words to your songs and they barely speak English. You know, those are the things you dream about. Like I said, going back to that kid in juvenile hall, those are some of the things that were, you know, that I wanted to achieve, and I did. And I got to see a lot of places that I only heard or seen in, you know, heard about or seen in pictures. And it was eye-opening, like shit. So I got to get back to work. I can't get lost in it and be like, yeah, I'm on, you know. It's more like, all right, how can I evolve? How can I get better?
Right.
And so yeah, that's kind of been what it is. But you know, my boy Rec One, rest in peace. You know, it just life, left and right, you know, blindsides you, and it's really hard to be consistent, you know, with a lot of that stuff. So a lot of, you know, deaths, a lot of shit going on, fighting for custody of my kid. And I mean, I can go on and on, but it's, you know, it's not about the sad story. It's just hard being consistent. And, you know, I've tried to keep my hands up and stay in motion.
Word. I mean, because Joe, especially now, like we said, we're going to, you know, everybody's feeling it right now, man. Nobody, you know, like everybody's getting their ass handed to them, you know. So it's like, I try to tell people like, yo, let's just try to be compassionate, man, because you know, everybody getting fucked up right now. Like people keep smiling or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it's like deep down, everybody got scars, man. I know the average person has a lot of scars right now going through this shit. You know what I'm saying? Quick thing, if you got any questions for Pawz, use the questions feature down below. It's right there, and that way I can show them to everybody. So use the questions feature to ask any questions if you have them. So yeah, so that's the one thing I did notice about your music, man, is that like that it's not a lot of there's a lot of story. There's stories behind it. There's meaning behind it. And that's the one thing that I noticed with like just about every song. And one song that stood out to me, I think it's on your most recent joint, "Fake Love." And
yeah,
talk about that a little bit, man, because that shit resonated with me. It resonates with a post I did today and everything. So talk about that a little bit. Just in general, you know.
So that song, I actually had lines written. Like I wrote some of those lines while I was locked up, so they're older. But as I was living it, I kind of just carved out a few things that I was feeling, and I was trying not to do I guess like a typical jail song or whatever. So I only wrote a couple lines that I felt were relevant, and then I saved them. And then I came across that beat. It was one of those things where like I saved those pieces for the right puzzle, and then when I got that beat, I felt like it fit, and then I built the rest around it. And I didn't want to make it too much about me. I'd like to keep it a little open-ended so people can put themselves in that position if you know if they've been in that spot before. So it was more or less a song like that. So I just, you know, there's a lot of those that I could write, but I try to make them for everybody. So it's not just, you know, I did this and I was here and me this, and because I don't feel like those songs have too much longevity. I want these songs to belong to the people where they're like, yo, I can relate to that, or I know exactly what he's saying right here, and somebody else hears it. I feel like that's the power of the music. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about that shit though. I mean, the whole aspect in general of that song, like "Fake Love," like, because to me, most of your songs I've heard from you, I'm like, yo, this nigga been through some shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And it resonates with me because I've been through some shit, and everybody else in the fucking place. So it's like, you know, so it hit home. Like for me, well, I'll tell you what I got from that shit. I was like, yo, like, I mean, the whole thing, "Fake Love" in itself was like, I've had so many people like backstab me and shit. It's like sometimes it's hard to move on. So man, maybe you could talk about that because like I said, your music shows that you've been through a whole bunch of fucking shit. You know, like I don't have to listen to every joint to know that.
Yeah, and that's where I let it out. You know what I mean? That's kind of like I try not to carry it around with me everywhere because when I express myself in that way, I end up locked up. You know what I mean? Because somebody cuts you off in traffic, shit like
Right.
that, and you explode that for minor shit. So I'm blessed to be able to write this shit out, record it, and it's even more of a blessing to have people like yourself that can hear it and be like, yo, I identify with that shit. I know exactly what that feels like or what that looks like, And it also motivates me to keep going. Like, okay, these are the songs and the topics that people are gravitating towards. So let me touch on that a little bit more. Let me show the opposite side where people do take care of you when you're locked up, or people do got your back. They show up to the hospital. They look out for your mom, shit like that. I always try to hit all angles of it because really I just want to document the human experience as a whole. I know some rappers got a character and they stare in character a lot, and I'm entertained by that. I like that shit, to be honest. There's some dudes I know they're not out selling mad drugs and shooting mad people, but I like the music production, maybe the choruses, the wordplay, whatever. But I guess for me personally, I kind of just want it to be as like a war journal,
Right.
just my document me being here and what I've seen and shit.
Yo, listen to this, man. I was interviewing Billy Dance from MOP, and we were talking about that shit, like, because he's older now, and I was like, yo, like, I was scared to interview you, fam. Like, I thought you were going to, like, butt me or some shit. And it was like, and we were joking, and he was like, yo, I killed 10 niggas on every song now. He goes, Annie up, put the kids through school. He was like, Billy Dance,
Yeah.
Billy Dance was a real one, but he was like, he goes, I don't do that now. He's like, but he goes, he lives out in the fucking birds and shit. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, I killed 10 niggas on every album. So I understand what you're saying, but there's a place for all of that, and I appreciate the fact that for you, it's your heart's in it, man. In terms of like what. Please use the questions feature for questions. We got a couple here. Yeah, your heart is in your music, and you're sharing some stories. So it's different things for everybody, but it's there's a lot to be said for sharing you. So I appreciate that. It comes through in your music. Let me check the questions and see. Let's see. We'll throw this one out here.
Top 5.
Random, but let's go.
I'm gonna say Black Thought, Eminem, Pharoah Monch.
Based on what?
Yeah, exactly. Cool G Rap, Ice Cube, I mean, I can keep going down the list. Razkaz. But yeah, that's at least 6. I can keep going.
Keep going. I want to hear who you fucking with, yo.
Those are all
I want to hear
OC, AZ, Raekwon.
Who you got between? Because you brought up Scarface and Ice Cube. Who you got between those two?
I'm gonna say just sheer catalog and shit like that. I'm gonna say Cube. I know he's done a bunch of movies. It's kind of weird. It balances itself out where Face has been a little more reclusive and kind of not done as much publicly. So, but Cube has like a consistency, even though he's doing movies and shit is corny every now and then. But I feel like, I'm gonna say Cube. But I love Scarface though.
Yeah, Scarface, no doubt. I think Scarface, man, he's my favorite dude from the South, and I have Cube in my top 10. I think those first 3 albums from Cube are ridiculous, like on all levels. I mean, Jacket for Beats is fucking brilliant, and I also think, and obviously him writing all the easy shit. I mean, so he basically wrote half of NWA. It's basically him and Ren, as far as that shit goes.
Exactly. Yeah. So in a sense, it's almost like, he was 2 out of the 4 Fantastic Four, basically. Like he was doing double duty. So Cube was always like, even his delivery, the homie asked the question. Shout out to homie Isaac. Asimov. He was saying, you know, his question was, why are LA cats so salty? And I mean, just to kind of, you know, in a nutshell, I feel like there's a couple reasons, but one of them is because it's the entertainment capital of the world. There's a lot of people that aren't from here that come here, and they have this air of just douchebag shit, kind of like fake it till you make it. And then it rubs off on the natives out here where they feel like they got to keep up with people that aren't even from here. They came out here to blow up. Another part of it is the illusion of competition, where you kind of feel like this group or this MC is your competition, when in reality, they're just here to fuck bitches and smoke weed. And you're trying to make records. You're trying to, you know, set a standard and have merch and tour. And they're really just kind of trying to be in the studio, make cameos and videos and shit like that. So there's the illusion of competition. I feel like that is real prevalent in Los Angeles. And I mean, it's like that in every major city. But being from here, you know, obviously I'm exposed to it on a daily. So that's why I fell back a little bit more, and I'm not as involved as I used to be.
Got you.
Because must have. Oh, must have. You know what? It's always been chaotic. So shit. Sometimes I show up and like, really, it's just, I can't even say. It's hard to nail that one down. Paper, because I still write on paper. So a must have is a pen and paper, because I don't really I don't do this shit on my phone. Like, I mean, I do every so often when I have to, but pen and paper for sure.
Pen and paper. That's critical, because you should always carry people. Some questions we're not getting to.
Yo, the homie said, will I be back to battle rap? You know what? They're the ones that actually, when I got out of jail, they showed me how it made the transition into being more Shakespearean, I would say, where it was less musical. So I kind of, I don't know, I got a distaste for it, because I felt like to be considered a dope battle rapper, you had to encompass all of those things: the flow, delivery, style, punchlines, metaphors. Like, I felt like that was the ultimate test. So the way it looks now, not really, because I don't want to spend 3 months, even though the prize is $10K, I still don't want to lose 3 months. And you know what I mean? I don't know. It just kind of feels a lot like wrestling to me. I just, you know, I don't know.
I don't know. I agree with you. It's a lot different than when I came up. I mean, you know, cats research their opponents and shit and do shit like that. So I don't know. That's not really the arena I fuck with. Let's go here.
Top 5 producers. Shit. I mean, Primo's on the list. DJ Quick. DJ Quick's one that's super underrated. Pete Rock, High Tech, Easy Mo B. Shit, that's 5 right there.
High Tech. Yo, can we talk about how? I mean, High Tech's really underrated too, but as far as I'm concerned, Easy Mo B is like supremely slept on as far as the producer.
Yeah,
goes.
exactly.
I mean, like ain't nobody. Yo, he said he made flavor in your ear in his drawers, my nigga. Like, he said he got up in the morning and he made flavor in your ear in his drawers. Like,
before the Wheaties. Before the Wheaties.
They could probably even brush his teeth, son. Like. So the Easy Mo B, he did one of my favorite joints. Busta Rhymes, Everything Remains Raw. That's one of my joints too. So Easy Mo B is a killer. He did R&B shit. Yeah. Certified.
Yeah.
Killer. He looks like Evander Holyfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Yo, and he kind of looks like him too, low key.
I was like, yo, he's Easy Mo Holyfield. Like, my God.
Yeah.
So, yo, not the other day, it was really last week when we did the promo for this. I tagged you in it, and you reposted it, and you said, I'm not into this rap shit anymore. I mean, I'm like, so what were you meaning by that? I mean, actually,
I think at the time
you said I'm not. I should look at the post, because that was me paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I said I'm not into this.
It was more or less like I haven't really been into it
lately.
Just, you know, like even as sometimes as a fan, you know, I think that's the easiest one for me to unplug, is just as a fan, because there's a abundance of shit coming out all the time, so it's hard to keep up with every release, every single, every video. and then on top of that, life shit, and then your own music shit. So after a while, you just kind of like you distance yourself from just all of it as a whole, and then once you unplug for a bit, you try to get back into it. At least for myself, it's hard to just dive back in and run, 100 miles an hour like you were. So plus, I don't want to do anything half-hearted, so I don't want to step in the studio and sit down and work on something and I don't put my all into it. So when I say some shit like that, it's really the homie just died, you know what I mean? And I got to talk to his mom, and there's this and there's that. There's a lot of shit, and really fuck rap. Sometimes it's like, yo, fuck, I got to be dad. I got to be dad right now. Fuck rap. You know what I mean? I got to deal with shit for my kid. Getting his social security number because his mom don't want to take care of that. She don't want to. It's just a lot of personal shit to where you're like, yo, that can wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you gotta live life, and that's the one thing that I've really come to understand. Like, it's like there's the entertainment shit, but then there's like, yo, the life shit has to always come first, man. I mean, so no doubt, I totally makes sense, man. Let's get into your man, Rec. Rest in peace, Rec One. You've been doing a lot of, a lot of respects to him and stuff. So let's chop it up about him, man. Like, what does he mean for the LA underground? Because I'm from the East Coast. I had heard of your man, but I'm not familiar. So like, it's important for us. It's important for everybody not to be so localized and shit. So what's good?
Yeah, even dudes on tour, like he was Sadat and Elder Sensei. There's a lot of people like. So he started off doing graph, and then from there he started doing the street team work where he was out, doing slapping up stickers, handing out flyers and shit like that. And he kind of transitioned and moved on to doing his own. They started doing shows, and he became a bigger part of that aspect. And I think he saw the ins and outs of it, but he didn't really like the business end, or I'm not sure what exactly it was. And he just kind of saw an opportunity to do it his way. So he stepped aside and kind of created his own name and his own identity and started running with that. And it was called the Unity Project. And the whole idea was basically just to unify, the Orange County, LA, Riverside, all over basically. It didn't even fucking matter where you were from. But that was his whole goal. So he started booking shows, his own shows. And at first, he was getting hated on by a lot of people because he had a lot of competition. And, it's a new dude selling on the block, so they weren't too happy about that. But also, the name was familiar to a legendary event called Unity. So that was another thing. And then his old crew. So I really admired the fact that he came out and pushed through all of that. He decided to just keep it going like fuck it.
Right.
So he took on anybody and everybody that opposed what he did, big or small, if they had legend status or whatever. He had no problem telling people to go fuck themselves. And I really respected that. And I like the way he handled business too. Like same sense of humor and shit like that. But I approached him and I was like, yo, how would you feel about being a tour manager? Because he had never really left California. I think he might have been to Mexico or something, but I asked him if he wanted to go on tour with me. And at the time, I think the first tour I had him manage was for 2 months. And so he went from like never really leaving the area to being gone for like a month and some change, and seeing, Oklahoma and Kansas and all these places. And but he was about his fucking business. And just a solid dude, solid dude, good father. As far as his contribution to hip hop, I think he carved out a space for a lot of cats in the area who weren't getting a shot to really perform, and not just rappers. Like he was putting on DJs, he was putting on live beat showcases, things like that. So he created a little hub for everybody to kind of show up, meet each other, exchange info, polish their craft, and it left a big hole, in a lot of ways. So I don't really think anybody's going to be able to do what he did,
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, man. I really Really appreciate that. Rest in peace, Rec One, for real, man. Like and like you've definitely done your job and continue to do your job to keep his legacy alive, man. Because it's I did the knowledge. I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying. I heard the name, but you know what I'm saying. Like through your posts and stuff, I was like, yo, was good. So it's important, man. So I appreciate you sharing that, because like for me, there's other shit going on in other areas and just like fucking the greater New York City area or whatever. So it's like I you know, it's important that other people know contributions from other areas. That being said, yo, what the fuck is up in like, explain the LA hip hop scene to me. I need to understand, like, just in general, like, because I see different vibes, I see different shit, and I used to live in LA, but I wasn't there when hip hop was popping off. So I visited a few times. I got family out there. I go out there sometimes, but like, just what's the vibe like out there?
I think, well, for starters, I mean, it's kind of like this. There was the fertile scene when things were green, and it was a little more lush for hip hop, where, you know, there was a lot more shit going on, a lot more shows, a lot of dope acts were out. Like, you had to be dope to really to do shit.
Right.
So it was kind of, that was then, and then when the pay to play stuff kind of infiltrated and dug in out here, you saw the shift. And I'll get into that in a minute. But basically, it was then and now. But also, you got to remember, there's two tiers out here. So there's the hip hop, which is whatever fucking wave is going on right now, whoever is sounding like the top motherfucker. That there's that shit, the Hollywood entertainment, whatever. And then there's the underground. And when I say underground, I don't necessarily mean boom bap. It could be trap. It could be trap-ish. It could be boom trap, whatever the fuck. But it's just independent people rhyming about real shit, reality. So there's that, and then there's the upper crust of fucking bullshit. And then you have back then how it was, and you have now. And unfortunately, you know, some people only see that top tier of colorful hair, shit like that, tight pants, whatever, and then also the pay-to-play shows. So you combine those two, and it just creates this, I don't even know what the fucking right word is, but you still got freedom fighters like myself hunkered down somewhere, you know, that are still representing underground shit, whether it's boom bap, trap, whatever fucking production they use, but we're still rhyming about reality, and we're still, you know, innovating and doing shit that they steal from anyway. So it's kind of like that. But as a scene, in terms of going to a show, I suggest you get there like 11 o'clock, unless you want to sit through like 45 opening acts you never heard of. You're not going to get any DJs. The DJs ain't going to play more than half a song. You know, it's kind of like that.
Wait. So I've heard of the pay to play shit. It's kind of out here in some areas and shit like that. And I don't know how. So that's like that is the model out there. That's
yeah.
The
so they created this. So they created this. It became, you know, essentially the business model for everybody that's throwing shows. And there was a crew out here that they were the first ones to bring out like Ill Bill, Sean P, and things like that. And those cats, like, those shows, that's where you wanted to be. You know, they were like real, genuine hip hop shows. And, you know, they would never take money to put somebody on. And eventually it turned into, they were basically the last ones to kind of convert to that. And they're like, fuck, just to kind of keep up, to keep the lights on, we got to do a little bit of that. And that's when I kind of saw it. And there was nothing against them, because they were the last stronghold. They were like, yo, man, like, that's just the way shit is now on a business level. And, you know, for a time, I was angry. I was salty. I was whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I was also very vocal. And if you approached me in person, I'd say the same fucking thing to your face. about a lot of the scene, the corny DJs, the corny promoters, the corny rappers. I had no problem with that. Basically, I put on the cape and try to save hip hop, and it backfired. People thought it was cute. Some people agree with me, but in the end, I made a lot of silent, passive aggressive enemies. And then that's when I built my fucking rocket ship and got the fuck out of LA. And that's when I started hitting Europe, going to the East Coast, you know, traveling, doing tours, because I realized that those dudes that I offended have the most power. They are the vanguard. They are the infrastructure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I pissed a lot of them off because I wasn't afraid to say they weren't shit. You know, when you got a rave promoter who decides to dip into hip hop because he sees a little bit of money over there, you know, that kind of shit, you know?
Right.
But again, see, here I go on the tirade. I don't really fuck with it no more. I'm selective. I pick and choose my fights now.
Makes sense, yo. You know what I'm saying? And as far as the Europe shit goes, I mean, Europe right now is like 1994. So as for an artist, any artist worth his salt or her salt that understands the game right now, it's in your best interest to get the fuck across the ocean, because if they fuck with you, they fuck with you for life. Like, they fuck with you heavy.
Exactly.
So I know you feeling the love in Europe, and you got fans for life over there. To probably you go there tour, they pull out all your shit, like shit you ain't never you made before.
Exactly. And you know what? That was another thing that I realized. Like, I think I wanted to be embraced and accepted and loved by here, where I'm from. But I realized that was never really going to happen, because a lot of the people that were, I guess, the ones like making the moves or whatever the fuck, people with any type of clout or power would never really give me that look. They'd never really give me that salute, because I wasn't from the same graph crew. I wasn't from the same side of town. I might have fucked one of their bitches. I might have socked up one of their homies. There might have been something like that where secretly they would never, ever give me that push, give me that look. So, and instead of being bitter, and I was for a period of time, I took that energy and I kind of, you know, morphed it into doing tours where I was like, yo, I'm out. And again, you know, just moving around the country, you know, going to fucking Nebraska, you know, being able to rap in places, you know, I never thought I'd end up, and having people show up and, like I said, know your songs and buy merch and support. So I started realizing, like, I love where I'm from, but the love ain't going to come back. And, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, for real, son, like, yo, you make a good point, man. So your example that you just shared shows, I mean, LA is like one of the 3 or 4 largest cities in the country. And it shows that even within a major metropolitan, because the same shit's like that in Philly, it's like the shit still shrinks. Like the world is still small. And it's like, yo, you're dealing with petty ass bullshit that's like small town, corny shit in LA.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's shit, but it's like, it's the same shit that's going on all over the place. So it's just, it's corniness everywhere. So you bounce and it makes sense. Yo, before we.
Yeah. So I learned that too. I learned that too, going to different scenes where I would see characters that I could identify here in LA, but there's their version in Colorado, or there's their version in Washington, or wherever the fuck. So I was like, oh, okay, these are the basic, there's a certain type, you know what I mean? And these guys end up filling in that type in every little scene where it was like, yo, this dude is a man out here because he did a song with so-and-so 12 years ago, and he's still the man out here. And it's like, it's because of the way he carries himself or whatever, but there's no real catalog, no consistency, there's no freshness, no nothing. But again, it's not to hate on anybody. Like, I try to just breeze past it and just.
Nah, of course. I mean,
you
it
know?
makes sense, yo. Corny shit is everywhere, yo. We got a few minutes, and I want to get into a couple of topics. I don't know if you could go longer or not, if we get cut with. But
Yeah.
All right, so
whatever.
So we might have to.
I owe you, bro. I owe you.
What happened? What'd you say?
I said I owe you because last time I didn't realize it was 6. I didn't realize it was 6 p.m. my time.
Yeah.
So I was at the fucking drive-in at the drive-through and In-N-Out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I had to get out the car, run and find a spot. But anyway,
yeah, you were like
we'll go as long as you want.
On the side of the curb like you were panhandling and shit, looking like.
So there's a dope there was a dope fiend like 20
Yeah,
yards away digging through the
I
trash.
was like, yo, come on, man. This nigga, I was like, this nigga in the hood about to get fucking raised up, $150. This shit, it's gonna be on me. You know what I'm saying? Yo, let's fuck it. Yo, let's run it back because I got a few more things I want to get into. Yo, so we got Pawz One in the building, carrying the culture. This is part 2. And because Instagram got the fucking 1 hour limit. Yo, so I always like to try to end up with some real shit, man, because as you said before, fuck the rap shit in the end because it's about real life. And 2020 is real as it fucking gets, yo. So I got a couple of questions for you, man. First of all, I lived in LA when I was like a young motherfucker, and it was like, the racial shit was fucked up then, and I guess it's still fucked up. But I was there when I was little. But I grew up on the East Coast. So it's different for me. My fucking Puerto Rican and Dominican brothers and sisters and you know, like it's just different. And I'm trying to understand how in LA's, you know, SoCal, like it's beef like between brown and black like that. I can't grasp that shit, son. Cause yo, I mean, we all fucking poor, B. Like I'm not understanding this shit.
I mean, I always thought of it like this. So you figure everything out there is literally older. The cities, everything is older there than it is here, right?
Fact.
So look at Frisco. Like Frisco's older than Los Angeles. In Frisco, in the Bay Area, the racial tension is nowhere near as bad as it is in LA, and that's because it's an older city. And I think because on the East Coast, people had time to work that shit out. Irish, Italian, Chinese, Black, Puerto Rican, Dominican, whatever. Everybody, like, there was beef, you know, for a while. But eventually people kind of worked that shit out, got it out of their system. Out here, because I feel like it's, you know, people were still stuck on it. And a lot of it has to do with the gang shit, the drug shit, the money shit, the prison shit.
Right.
So you combine all of those together, it's just a recipe. The shit will never really end. And what's fucked up is I love hip hop. So to be born and raised in this, where like, you know, it's cool to have a black friend you know, until you hit a certain age, and then people were sweating him, and it's like, yo, what the fuck? And then these people were friends with them in middle school, and like now they're not cool, and he didn't do shit to them. And it's same thing, white kids, whatever, even us. And it's kind of like that, and it's fucked up. And then going through the prison system, juvenile hall and all that, and then kind of seeing it there where like I realized like even that is bullshit. Because when it came to drugs and money and power, it had very little to do with race. It's just a certain amount of people make so much money off of it that they perpetuate it. And, you know, it's a system that I feel like probably won't necessarily die off for a while out here at least. But it's reality. So you got to factor that in. I mean, yeah, it sucks. So I'm here trying to do hip hop, you know, Mexican guy trying to do hip hop. And, you know, I got my own people looking at me funny. I got other people looking at me funny. But then I go to another country. They don't give a fuck what nationality I am. Like, yo, can you rap? Can you break? Can you pop? Can you DJ? Can you cut? Can you produce? Like, show me the elements. Like, can you paint? Like, it's not about that. And I deal with this shit here every day. You know, I deal with it every day. But, you know, it is what it is. I feel like there's some people born into it and they pick a side out the gate, and that's cool. But for me, like, I've traveled, I've seen other countries, I've seen other cultures. So I realize like that there's that human element to it where like, yeah, represent what you are, where you're from, what you're proud of, etc. But at the same time, leave enough room to accept other people's cultures, etc. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some people that are too narrow-minded to ever give anything else a shot, you know?
Yo, that shit fucking blows, man, because, you know what I mean? Like some of the most disappointing shit ever to me, like, because I, especially since I didn't come from that, and like, even being where I live now, I live in Pittsburgh now, and not being closer to New York and all that shit, like, it's weird not seeing, like, my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, not hearing shit pumping out the Corolla, like, yeah. I mean, I need to
Yeah.
hear that shit, man. I need to hear that shit to feel alive, yo. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, so to hear what you're saying makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? But it's trash. Are there places in SoCal, Southern California that are better? Like where that shit goes? You know what I'm saying? Where the vibes are a little more like, not, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know about geographically. I don't know about like, a specific spot, but I know that there's certain groups of people that they all move in unison. They don't really give a shit about that. They're trying to make moves. They're trying to make money, make an impact, take care of the community, take care of each other, make shit happen for hip hop. And I usually try to find myself in that circle because I don't necessarily want to fit into this crowd that might be all 100% or 98% a certain ethnicity and try to be a part of it, or go to the other one and know I'll be accepted. I don't really want to find myself in a little compartment of hip hop. I'm hip hop, so that's why I move with anybody that's really trying to, like I said, have an impact, make some fucking money, do something dope. So it's not necessarily a place. It's it's a movement, and you recognize it. You see people at a lot of the same events and shit, and you could tell, like, yo, whether he's black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever the fuck, like you could tell that they're 1,000% hip hop, and you always link up at the shows, smoke a blunt, chop it up about so and so's album, whatever, and it's always love like that. So that's why I appreciate it, but it moves around a lot, and you gotta. There's always two or three. It's a frame of mind, exactly. So it's not a specific place that you can find somewhere out here. But yeah, because the hood shit is the hood shit. There's some hoods where it's like you might not see any blacks, you might not see any whites, you might not see any browns, yellow, whatever the fuck, because there's just pockets that they kind of like carved out and claim for themselves. But yeah, when it comes to hip hop, it's like that, where you just try to find those like-minded individuals and move with them,
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, that should be the unifying factor. I mean, hip hop should be bringing people together. I mean, for the most part, it does. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep it a buck. Even within hip hop, there's a lot of racial shit. Like it's funny too. I mean, like, it's funny shit. Like I seen white dudes not get the props that they deserve because they're white. I'm like, yo, you fucking kidding me? You need to think of this body juice, son. Like, but
yeah.
So
yeah, and I've seen recently where who was it? I don't know exactly the name or whatever. I don't really remember, but it was a dude doing hip hop somewhere in the East Coast. The white dude was doing like a lot of like pro-Trump, low key racist, like blanket racist shit, but he was like hip hop, and at the core of it, it didn't really make no fucking sense because like you know where I'm going with this, but it's just weird how a lot of that shit happens, and I don't know. For me, it's like I think human beings, we're a warlike, species. So a lot of people want to click up. They want to create these little factions and kind of go at each other. But for me, I'm like, I try to see a little bit above that, where it's like, I think we can all eat. I think there's enough out here where we can all eat as long as nobody's greedy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, the thing is, I mean, I always say, I think ultimately now 2020 to me is proving that we're more alike than different. And that's what I wish we would like kind of look at a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more similarities to people than, as far as I'm concerned, than differences that like should be like, oh, I'm not fucking with that person. Like there should be very little, like if you haven't met a person yet, there should be very little that should make you not fuck with them if you haven't even met them. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
exactly. Yeah.
So,
what's, not to cut you off, but what's been a big one is I've seen a lot of people that are quick to shit on somebody instead of kind of filling them in and educating them, or like, instead of telling them what this is or how this works. It's more fun and it's easier to just shit on somebody and make them feel stupid and sound stupid, but that's not necessarily how we grow. You know what I'm saying? Some people they respond to negative reinforcement. So yeah, if you call them stupid, they might want to smarten up and learn it. But for the most part, a lot of people will just get pushed away by it, and not really embrace it.
But
you know
even
what I mean?
but even if they respond to that negative reinforcement, though, it's not a it's a response almost out of fear, though. That's never really a positive response. A person's not doing something then because they want to do it. They're doing it because they don't want the fucking shitty reaction that's going to come if they fuck up. So that's still not necessarily even the best shit right there, though. You know what I mean? Like, because ultimately they're still doing it for the wrong, or they're doing it for the wrong reasons. Even if they're doing it completely 100% correct, it doesn't matter at that point, you know. So
Yeah.
you're right. Last thing, yo, and it's a big one. I mean, I want to chop it up about. So you know all the cop shit that's been going on. It's been going on for a long time. You're in LA. It's you guys. LA's biggest gang motherfuckers out there, like LA cops. So you know, it's we know what it is. So I gotta ask you a question. I've been thinking about this a lot, man. I have cops in my family. My aunt, she just retired from the LAPD. Is a big up to my man DJ Ace, lieutenant out of New York NYPD. DJ is fucking nasty, dope dude. Are there good cops? Like at this point in time, you know, because I try to be balanced about shit always, but it's hard right now. So I see memes and all this shit. You know, all cops. I mean, and I'm like, it's hard for me because I'm trying to like, but then I see like people not going to jail for murder. I see other shit still going on. I remember the shit that I've gone through. So, what's your thoughts on that, man?
I think good isn't the word.
All right.
I think like just being human, being civil, like treating somebody like a human being. Because I feel like if you know, if you were good, you go above and beyond to do shit. And I'm sure there is a very finite number of cops that do that.
Very finite, my nigga.
You know what I'm saying? You know, infinitesimal number.
You can't see that shit, son. You know, you can't see that number.
But there are some that are civil, some that are like, you know, they a little more understanding. They got a little more tolerance for shit. I got pulled over, for example, with Rec One, rest in peace. I got pulled over I think it was in Rhode Island on a tour. And, you know, we got the windows down. We're smoking weed, playing music. We got pulled over. There's 2 white cops. So, you know, immediately we thought it was fucking over. They pulled up, but they didn't reach for their guns. You know, they didn't come, you know, they didn't come in hot. They didn't come in too aggressive. They kind of asked, you know, who we were, where we came from, blah, blah, blah. They said they smelled weed. So, you know, we weren't even really trying to front like we weren't smoking. But for the most part, they were like, look, check it out. You know, you guys are out. You guys are from LA. Okay, cool. What are you guys out here for? Oh, you guys doing music? Okay, cool. You guys rap? Like, yeah. It wasn't like some 5 Heartbeat shit like, let me hear something. It was more like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. So they kind of, they're like, look, we know you've been smoking. We can't let you drive. So park the shit over here, and you got to get back to your hotel however you get back. The shit will be here tomorrow. And so that was a decent experience where it was like, okay, yeah, they're not all pieces of shit. But, you know, again, I'm sure there are good ones. But it's the ones that have an understanding, the ones that are tolerant, the ones that are patient and willing to be like, okay, well, why did you fucking do that? Or whatever. You know what I mean? Every situation is different. And I feel like because they've been painted a certain way, and so have we, black, brown, white, whatever, poor, like, it's a standoff. It's like 2 dogs. You know what I'm saying?
They're already ready. Yeah, they're
so
ready.
automatically,
they're already ready to get business.
Both of them. Both sides. So you're kind of like, you know, there's yeah. So there's that tension, that veil of animosity that's there. And you kind of just fill each other out to see what direction they're coming from. And, you know, a lot of times, at least in my experience, I'm going to say almost, you know, 9 out of 10 times it's always been that negative. It's always been, you know, first gun I ever had put in my face was by LA County Sheriff. I was probably like 12 years old. So, you know, shit like that, you grow up with that. And, you know, now that's the enemy when you see them. That's the enemy. So, but yeah, it's a real thing out here, you know, and I'm sure it is everywhere, as you can see all over the news and everything.
No doubt, man. It's crazy because I know the feelings. Like, how many times do you feel like you out, you see the cops, right? And you're not even dirty, and you feel like you dirty. You be like, wait,
Yeah.
do I got a fucking line on me? Like, are you clean, sober as fuck? You like got a tie on and shit. You like, wait, hold the fuck up, man. Like, you know, so
I catch myself checking all the mirrors every time. If I'm driving, like, I know it's just automatic. Like, I can't even turn the shit off. You know what? My son will be with me, and I'm like, yo, did he turn? Did he turn yet? You know, like, don't turn your head. Look in the mirror. Did he turn?
Fucking keep it moving, son.
Yeah, like, I'll be clean. Instantaneously, you're like, yo, keep an eye on that motherfucker. Is there another one? Yo, if they're parked here, they're probably gonna fucking raid some shit. And it's just, you know, it becomes instinct in a way. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, unfortunately, that's the necessity, though. You know, that's what it is. I mean, and so you gotta,
survival, bro.
You gotta just.
It's survival.
It's survival. You gotta roll. You just gotta roll. You just gotta roll with it, man. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so somebody said on there's a huge disconnect between the police and the people, which I agree with. So let's look at going forward. I mean, like, okay, like you said, there's two sides of the standoff, like poor, colored, brown, whatever. Cops. How can we move forward?
I have no fucking answer for that.
I need an answer, son. You said you owe me.
I mean, look at a majority of cops. It's to a point where a majority of cops don't even want to live in the neighborhoods they police.
Most of them don't.
Which is a indication of like, yo, I'm gonna do some dirt around here and go sleep somewhere in a gated fucking community. And you know, that's a big one where it's like, you know, you got dudes around here that they live here. They might do what they do out here, but they live here. Right. You see them, you know.
Right.
But when it comes to that, it seems kind of funny that you wouldn't want to live. You make yourself a target, but it's deeply rooted, is what I'm saying. It's very deeply rooted.
Yeah. No, you're right. Especially out there. I mean, I know it's like that everywhere, but like out there, you know, there's a history. There's a serious history. So, yeah. Which is even more of a reason why there should be more unity amongst fucking Mexicans and black folks. I just can't. It still boggles the mind. But whatever. Fucking.
Bro, yeah, it kills me because like I can go on and on about that. And then there's people, you know, that on the surface, like, yeah, they're like, yeah, I agree. But in reality, they're out doing shit to create a deeper divide between us. And I'm talking about hip hop dudes, like rap dudes, producers, promoters, radio shows, bloggers. Like,
Word.
They don't necessarily. Yeah, look at. People always speak about this, you know, like person behind the curtain that's running everything, Illuminati, whatever fucking name you want to give it. But in reality, a lot of that evil is people that are right around us. You know what I mean? It's those people that out in public, online, whatever, there's a certain code of ethics they know they gotta abide by. But then when they go on a computer later, they can completely take all of that off and be that and target people that they see doing good, you know, or try to create some type of unity or whatever. I feel like, and you know what? You know how I know this? Because I've met these people. I've met them, and I've got to the foundation of it, and they flat out told me, look, this is why I don't want that to work. I make too much money doing it this way. So you're like, shit, you know, and it all boils down to greed, really.
That's
you know,
trash.
And you can't really kill it. Yeah, you can't
wild.
Really kill that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those are things you can't kill. It's hard to kill off greed.
Yeah, no doubt. What you got going on now, man? I know you got some. You got the merch popping. You got what you got popping off these days? You got some weed shit too going on?
Yeah, I got some edibles that came out. It's got THC, CBD, and then some of them got magic mushrooms. They got mushrooms in them, some caps. We just put those out.
We gotta talk.
Yeah, so hit me up. So, and I'm shipping them too. So it's not something that's you you know, I'm delivering them and all that. But I put out a beer recently, a craft beer. Now I got the edibles. It was all attached to my last album, Watch and Learn, which is my last album. I don't really see a point of doing albums anymore. Nobody's listening to full fucking albums anyway. But yeah, I'm just working on a lot of EPs. Like I got a solo one that's coming out soon. I got one with Michael Myers, West Coast OG, one with AG from Digging in the Crates, a couple with my homies that are, you know, different producers, different singles. So I'm trying to get back to working on the catalog since we can't go out and do shows. I'm just trying to stack up at least a good 5 to 8 projects for the next coming years. Even if we ain't able to do shows for a year, that's fine. Fuck it. I'll just keep hitting them with singles and projects and videos and shit. That's one thing that I want. When it's all said and done, I want to have that deep catalog. So after I die, people got shit they can listen to for 20, 30, 40 years. And I say that for this reason. I found an old phone of mine. Screen was cracked. I paid to have it fixed. Found a video on there. I reposted it. Someone was like, yo, this shit is dope. You keep dropping new shit. And I was like, yo, this shit is 4 years old. It was a video for a song that I had lost. And now that people are home and they, you know, are able to kind of pay attention, they're catching up on a lot of stuff that I put out 4 or 5 years ago. So I feel like there's still going to be that gap where between now and the time that I stop doing it because I'm no longer able to do it, there's still going to be that window where people are going to have time to catch up, you know?
Especially
and
now.
then plus I'm going to put shit in the vault. Yeah, I'm going to put shit in the vault for my son to kind of release at his discretion whenever he wants, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. I mean, no, yeah, especially now, man. I mean, it's like there's so much music out there now. It's really hard to keep up with stuff. I mean, it's like I said, I apologize. I'm like, I was like, what album you on now? Like, I don't know. Like, there's so much.
No, yes. And I don't take offense to that because I kind of feel like it's going to take a period at the end of the sentence for someone to stop and say, oh, shit, like, he caught a murder case, like, oh, shit, or, oh, shit, he passed, like, oh, shit. Now, I mean, it's unfortunate. I hate to say that. Or the one that, you know, everybody hopes is we're like, yo, he's on. So-and-so put him on. So now they're like, yo, well, fuck, who is this dude? Let me catch up.
Right.
And then they go and they see, like, yo, this dude's been putting out records for 10 years.
It's always,
you know what I mean?
Like that. Yeah, it's always, you know, there's very few people that are courageous enough to jump on some dope shit in the beginning. Most people, we play the fence, we play the wall, you know what I'm saying? And then once it gets the big cosign, okay, you know, right now the thing is everybody's posting like when shit gets played on fucking Sirius. Fuck kids. I mean, but it's like, you know, so it's like once it gets the cosign, then it's like, oh, it's okay. But it's like, yo, dope is fucking dope, man. It's like that shit doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
I got a question for you. So with that said, what was something that you found that heads around you weren't on yet? You showed it to them and they thought it was whack at first, and then a year or two later they circled back around and now they were fucking with you.
Okay, there's a bunch of shit. Rumpelstiltskins. When Rumpelstiltskins came out, it was in 1993. I'm not sure if you're familiar. They're from Long Island. This kid Geronimo was on the second Leaders of the New School album. Dope. They were like the gully leaders of the New School. This shit came out. They had a joint called Attitudes. Dude, nigga had one big dread sticking out of his head. The hook was my attitude is fucked up and real shitty, and I was bumping that shit, bumping it hard. And everybody's like, yo, what the fuck is a rumple? They asked me, what's a Rumpelstiltskin? I'm like, yo, nigga, you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I used to go visit my peoples in Cleveland. So I was an East Coast nigga going to Cleveland. So I got the middle shit. So I would come back sometimes. I would come back sometimes bumping. That's where I got put on the NWA. That's where I got put on the Scarface. A lot of that shit. And I would come back east playing like fucking what is you don't have to front on me, bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Easy. I was coming back playing easy and shit.
Automobile.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was coming back with that. So it was a lot of shit that because I was traveling too, and because my parents were divorced. So I was going to visit my dad, and I got a different flow, and niggas was clowning me, yo, because this was, 80, 89. I mean, I still fucked with all the East Coast shit, but I had a different flavor. So that's why I appreciate, like, when you said DJ Quick, yeah, like, I don't fuck with everything Quick does, but he's nasty. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. But yo, my phone's about to die, but I
you're done.
appreciate
I'm
you
about to die
giving me
too.
a second shot. So
Thank you. Pawz One, carrying the culture. We gotta do it again. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, yo. I'll fucking tag you, get all this shit up and everything. Real quick, we got another one on Wednesday. My man Momar Nadon in studio in the lab. We're gonna he's gonna chop up make a beat, then spit over it. So he's fucking nasty. So we're gonna do that. Thank you again, man. I appreciate you, fam.